Welcome to part 2 of us building agents for hire, and then we're going to post them on agentrage.com for people to get business-related staffing issues resolved. You want somebody to lead your marketing department, you can come to agentrage.com and hire somebody. You want to revive your previous leads that have gone stale, you can come to agentrage.com and hire somebody for $20. That's an AI agent that'll use your API key to revive those leads for you. Hi, I'm Carriel, and I've been in cybersecurity for over 20 years. I recently got into digital marketing and am using my experience and knowledge to build technical solutions to help businesses. I also enjoy starting up businesses, so I've launched a Skool community that revolves around using CRMs like Go High Level and other technical capabilities to help increase revenue. If you haven't watched part 1 already, go ahead and watch it now and then join us here, because that's going to help you set up your Claude Code environment properly, and that way you can follow along and build your own agents. So let's get started. So many of you saw part 1 where we built Tails. Now that did include a lot of me tinkering around and trying to test the limits of Claude, and I am pretty impressed. But in the process, I burned 138,000 tokens. But what does that mean? I put a total of $50 in the wallet, which I assume is what I got over here, about 8.5 million tokens. If we convert that over to cost, that's about 73 cents of running Claude yesterday. All in all, I probably played around with it for a solid 6 hours straight. So I think that's a pretty good return on investment, because now I have an assistant that can check my emails, check my calendar, and so on. Tails was a proof of concept, but today we're going to build agent MacGyver Reviver. And I got this from one of our Skool members who said he's in real estate and he often comes across other realtors who have leads in their CRM, but that just haven't reached out to them. It takes a lot of time to go find out which ones are stale leads, draft up an email, and then send it out to them, and then have a call to action to maybe book a follow-on conversation with them, either over the phone or on a Zoom call. So you can essentially revive that lead. Now, the vision here is MacGyver would sit on agentrage.com, which is our website for selling agents. Somebody would show up and hire him for, we just put $20 a month basically, but MacGyver would then convince that person that, hey, I need your private integration key for your sub account. I need you to put money in your wallet and then approve of me accessing your sub account and reviving your leads. Once all those 3 things happen, MacGyver then uses that private integration key to log into the client sub account, reviews all of their contact records to see which contacts have not engaged in the last 30 days, and then drafts a nice email getting that potential customer interested with a call to action to book a meeting on the calendar. And then the business owner can basically just see appointments filling up on their calendar and then subsequently process each one of those leads as they would normally do in their business. So that's the vision, and that's what we're building today. So jumping back into Claude, and this is again on Visual Studio. If you're not familiar with any of this, that's because you didn't watch part 1. Go ahead and watch that, set it up appropriately, and then jump right back in here. So the first thing we're doing is in plan mode, we are asking Claude, hey, what do you think? And we're asking Claude really because that's like the front end user interface here. But on the back end, the LLM is Opus 4.6, which is by far the smartest one on the market right now, and really, really smart to do planning with. And so I basically laid out the entire plan of what I just told you. MacGyver Reviver, it's going to be on the website, needs a PIT, and then somebody pays and it goes and does the task for them. Just like a virtual assistant would. You'd go to Upwork, for example, or Fiverr and hire somebody, and then they would say, yeah, it's going to be, $200 for me to do this. And then what's your private integration key? And then you're sending that key to somebody you don't really know, and then you have to monitor their work, and then hopefully it turns out the way you thought it would. Well, MacGyver is going to be much cheaper, and the key is actually going to be saved in an encrypted fashion. Nobody can see it. Even if agentrage.com got hacked, nobody would see that key. But I'm not as smart as Opus 4.6, so I'm asking it, what is the best plan to put this into effect? And it built this plan. It says, building the first commercial for Agent Rage, Agent Factory, MacGyver Reviver connects to a user's Go High Level sub account, identifies dead leads, which is defined as no contact in 30 plus days, generates personalized HTML revival emails using Claude, and sends them via Go High Level's API. And then Agent Rage is hosted on Base44, the website. So Base44 triggers it via HTTP post, also upgrading Tails from Claude Sonnet 4.6 to Claude 4.6. Okay, so that's already what we did earlier. But that's going to take place as soon as I take this out of plan mode. So task 0 is the first thing we have to do is we need to get our tools.js, and that's about 72 lines of code that it's going to write. It'll change the index.js JavaScript, so just like the front end basically. And then it'll have this tree structure that's going to build on my computer. It's going to have these folders with these particular files within those folders. And it has beautiful note-taking ability as well, so it tells you exactly what each file does. And then it's going to have these different functions of integrating the key. That's going to be really important. Do it properly with no errors and with security in mind. And then it's going to take a look at processing all of those contacts. Contacts could be 10 total, could be hundreds, right? Could be thousands potentially. And we know in high level, each page has 100 contacts. So we have to process them in batches. And then the calendar itself will probably either create a calendar or get the location ID from the customer based on the integration key that they've already provided, and then have that calendar link be in the email as the call to action. So dead lead gets an email, hey, would love to talk to you again, hit this link, book a call. And then the email itself, it's going to be an HTML format. And then how are we filtering? It's going to be based on all these factors. Also, a rate limiter is really smart because we don't want to get blocked by Go High Level's firewall. If we go and make a pull for 5,000 contacts instantly, it might think something's up. Or if we're sending emails and we send 5,000 emails at the same time, that could also mess the reputation of the domain for the client. We're going to have loggers to keep track of all the errors and all the activity that takes place, an email generator function itself, and then an internal pipeline for this entire process to take it from A to F, a router function to move data to and from, an index that is MacGyver Reviver, essentially its face. We'll update the environment variables, and it even comes up with decision points and then chooses the appropriate decision. This is pretty impressive. So for example, it says the call pattern on how many we're going to pull. It's going to be a batched job, meaning we're going to pull chunks of contacts at a time in JSON format. And then it says why is because it's 10 times cheaper compared to pulling one contact at a time. That's phenomenal. Identifies all the technical bottlenecks that we talked about. You know, you have to go 500 dead leads, 5+ minutes at a time. So it's going to do it in chunks. Handled at 650 milliseconds throttle. Pagination is important because you have all of your contacts, but you just have to click page after page after page to get all of them. And then there's going to be a max as well. So it's capping it out at 10,000 contacts because it doesn't want to run away billing. It has the order that it's going to build all of this in, and then how it's going to test each one, and then how you would start it, how you would test it. Okay, this is pretty cool. Claude is written up, plan is ready to execute. Would you like to proceed? Yes, and then clear context, 31 use, and auto accept edits. Right, so the context itself is a problem here because as we're communicating with Claude here, it has a limited amount of what we would call cache memory. It forgets things, right? And the moment you go over that little threshold, it starts hallucinating. So the recommendation here is remove that cache, never let it go over like 40 or 50% to just keep it safe. And you can do things like compact the previous one, but I think it's just important. Just get rid of the previous stuff and then continue on. So I'm going to say yes, and let's go. Interesting note here is because I was in plan mode and then I said, yes, I accept this plan. It went ahead and switched to accept edits on and then started building and implementing and writing code. Something to keep in mind because just because you're in plan mode doesn't keep it from changing its own mode. Okay, so we built a bunch of things. Let's take a look. The model upgrade was done. So we're now on Opus 4.6. We built a folder with all of these JavaScript functions in it. Each one would do something. So client would capture the PIT, the integration key. Contacts is the pagination fetcher. And then whenever it gets to max pages, which I think we had said 100, it would stop. Calendars fetches first active calendar booking link. Okay, so basically it finds the top calendar that you have in your sub account and then has a function for creating emails, filtering for the 30+ days of dead leads, has a rate limiter, which is super smart, logger to track everything, email generator to actually create the email itself, and it's going to use Opus 4.6, so I'm going to go ahead and trust that one. I think it's a pretty smart LLM. Has a pipeline so it can track the entire flow of this process, routers to share the secret and data, and then the index itself that's going to be running on port 3001. And that's what's going to allow it to go out to the internet from my computer and do all of these things. And then we also have a scheduler. So in case there's a one-time run and then follow-on client says, you know, now I want you to run this every week because every 7 days I'm going to have more stale leads potentially, then maybe we could do some kind of a monthly thing or a recurring weekly activity. So it added the script all the variables, and then now I need to verify some things. So let's go ahead and test this. What was it called? npm run MacGyver. Here we go. And then we do a curl request, and then we have to provide our integration key, and then also the location ID of our sub account to test this. Okay, so let's go npm run MacGyver. It's connecting or concocting. Yes, go ahead and run that. Okay, so it's up and running on port 3001, and I need to enter basically my secrets, like integration key, location ID, tell it what to use in order to access my Go High Level sub account. And I need to put that data in the environment file, which on my computer is this environment file right here under the Agent Rage Claude folder, the overarching folder that Claude is operating within. So let's grab this private integration key. If you're a high-level user, you can go into your sub account, go down to settings, and then private integrations, and then create new integration. Let's give it a name. And if you're an agency owner that's going to sell this service on your own, like you don't have to tell the client to go to Agent Rage to go do all the stuff, you can do it for them. And instead of them paying Agent Rage $20, they could pay you like a couple $100, maybe a couple $1,000. And you basically have a resource of agents that can go do this stuff for you. So the first thing you'll have to get is the integration key from the customer, or at least get them to give you access, and then you can pull it yourself. So let's call this MacGyver, the lead reviver, and then hit next. And then for scopes, you want to be very specific on which scopes you select over here. So for example, if you need to edit a calendar, which you probably do to book an appointment, you would select that scope. You are now giving permissions to this key on what this key can unlock inside your sub account. Once you've picked your scopes, hit create and then confirm. Pop-up will show up, will show you your entire key. Make sure you copy that because you're not going to see it again. And then once you're done using that key, always come back and rotate and expire the token, which I'll do at the end of this video. The other thing we need is the location ID, which is in business profile, and then location ID. Go ahead and copy that. Now let's go ahead and plug both of these into our environment file. And that's just a notepad over here. So Claude will already have this placeholder for you. Go ahead and paste the PIT right after this and location ID right after this. So we have the integration key and the location ID. What I'm a little bit concerned about is this email format. Capital E versus / emails / and high level is notorious for difficult API documentation. And so we need to go ahead and test this first. Otherwise, if we send 50 emails or whatever, and we pick the wrong one, they may never deliver. So I do need to set up a separate test just for this alone. So we're going to do a curl command, which is basically a web request through the terminal, just with that capital E first. If it comes back with a 200, that means successful, then we know we have the right one. Formatting issue. Okay, I need to change a bunch of these slashes. Okay, let's try it again with a Windows format. This is interesting. So it didn't work. It says could not resolve host system. You are reading this. The API endpoint is bad host name. Said that like one line at a time. Okay, I just had Gemini build it for me. Okay, there is no message or attachments for this message. Skip sending. Well, that's great because that's what it gives when you don't have like a subject line or nothing in the body, like it wants something to send, meaning that capital E actually worked. So this is a good one. So let's go tell Claude the test is successful. It will work. Okay, and immediately Claude understood and said, okay, added the message HTML body alongside. We know what the error is. Now we're going to have an email from category. Great. And default sender, we know Go High Level does that automatically. It plugs in the business name, so no issues there. Okay, so let's try running our agent again. npm run MacGyver. Yes. So a little bit of security, that's nice. It's about to run a curl command, meaning it's going to go out to the internet and wants permission. I'll say yes. So Claude updated the variable, then went ahead and ran it. It saw that the connection closed and then got suspicious, and then it ran that HTTP command right here, asked me permission if it could run it, ran it successfully and said, oh, okay, it wasn't an issue, no problem. So now this is like really, really impressive. It's like doing things, which means we're ready for the test. So let's go. Okay, so I think I can just ask it to run MacGyver for me, but I am gonna give it a prompt that gives it a little bit more detail, because I wanted to reference the environment file because I have the PIT in their location ID and the shared secret, then uses variables to construct and execute a post request to MacGyver. Okay, let's see what Claude does. It went and got all the data from the environment variable and said, hey, do you want me to run this? Yes, I do. What? 202 accepted. That's a good thing. Pipeline is running in the background. Watch the server console for logs. You should see contact fetch account, dead lead filter results, and generated emails. No sends sent because we had it in dry run mode, meaning don't actually send emails to all the recipients of that one sub account. Wow. Okay, I want to see the logs for this one. So if we click on this, or instead of clicking around trying to find these logs, let's just ask it. Because it's doing two things. It has to go through all of those contacts, which could be hundreds of them. There's no way it's doing that in under 2 seconds. And then at the same time, it's going to tell us what the outcome is, meaning, hey, it's successful. We're going through it, and then we're going to send the emails. And then on the back end, it should just keep going through all of the contacts and building the emails and sending them out. If it sat there on the front end, simply showed us like a spinning dial, it would essentially just time out probably at the end, or the customer would be looking at it going, okay, I don't know what it's doing. So I think what we do is on Agent Rage, we just splash like, hey, MacGyver is working on this in the background. Stay tuned for updates, right? And then we just kind of let them go, because they could have one contact, but then they could also have up to 10,000 was our limit. And that could take a lot of time. I don't know if it would probably take an hour, maybe longer. Okay, I am so impressed with Claude right now, because this is next level stuff. I had run MacGyver in the terminal itself. I probably should have created a separate terminal and ran it there so I could see the logs. But because I ran it with Claude itself, it went ahead and ran those console logs in the background, so it doesn't fill up my context window. Did it by itself. And then when I said, hey, where do I see the logs? It said, hey, it's running in the background, but let me go ahead and kill the connection, restart the pipeline, and then pipe those logs to a separate file so you can see them. Do you want me to proceed? Yes or no? And I was like, yes. Like doing this stuff on Cursor, Lovable, Base 44, those ones are a little bit novice compared to this. They tend to, speak confidently like they're going to go solve a problem, but then in that process, they create these other issues, and they're like, oh, I forgot to do whatever, and now the whole thing is hosed. But so far, I'm very impressed with Claude. Okay, phenomenal. It is running, and I am super excited. This is me being excited. 326 total contacts fetched, 68 dead leads identified, which is basically no contact over 30 days. No active calendar found in this sub-account. The pipeline handles this gracefully. Claude will use a fallback URL. Email generation in progress. Batch 1 of 7 done. Batch 2 running now. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, so it's working. Like, it just wrote the entire MacGyver Reviver agent, and all I had to provide it was the integration key, which everyone's going to have to do, because that's permission. Tell it where the sub-account is, meaning the location ID, and that's it. So we could essentially package this. That's the next one we're going to work on. Package this to put on the front end on agentrage.com. So we'll probably have some kind of an embedded connection between the code that's sitting in Claude, the front end that the customer is going to see. We also want some kind of a script running on the front end that convinces the customer to buy, right? Like a frequently asked question. It's like a window. Like you show up, like, hey, what do you do? And then MacGyver should be able to explain, like, well, I go into your sub account, I look up your dead leads, and then I revive them, and then I book them on your calendar so you can close them. And then they should be able to answer questions like, what do I need to provide you? Well, you have to give me your integration key and you have to give me your location ID. Do you want me to show you how to get those? And then give them like a step-by-step on how to do that. And then answer questions like, well, is this safe? Are you going to steal my secret? And they should be able to answer all those questions. Make them feel comfortable. Like, no, everything's encrypted. Even the owner of the company can't see your secret. And then we'll just come up with a price, and then they'll buy credits on Agent Rage, pay MacGyver to go do the task. And then they'll literally see emails popping up in their high level, and hopefully appointments on their calendars. And for $20 plus the cost of tokens, which would just be pay as you go, I think that would be a phenomenal deal. And then for agency owners, you have a dedicated virtual assistant that you can come in here and tap every time and say, hey, go run this task on this integration key, this location ID. And then, of course, you can charge a lot more because you're a human, you're an agency. Lead revivals, I would say it's probably on the order of, you could charge like 50 cents a lead, basically. So if they have 1,000 contacts in their CRM, charge them $500 to revive all of them. Out of 1,000, 5, 6, 7 of them book a call, and then their ticket is anywhere from $500 to $10,000. And that's a phenomenal ROI. They'd be hiring you every week. And then it pops out a report. I mean, what more could you ask for? Total contacts, dead leads were 68. We didn't actually send any emails because it's all in dry run mode. None of them would have failed. total time is 5 minutes is what it took. And it said if you want to go live with this thing, we would throttle it to where everything is done within 45 seconds. Beautiful. I kind of want to just send the emails, but how is it formatting the emails? So that's a question that I just came up with. Does it reference the type of sub account it is? Or maybe the customer needs to explain like, hey, I'm an electrician. Don't go reviving them for like a newsletter or massage therapy or whatever. And here's your email. For example, hi Sonic, I hope this message finds you well. I noticed we haven't had the chance to connect yet and didn't want to let that slip through the cracks. Sometimes timing just isn't right. I genuinely love to hear what's up. No pressure at all. Just an open door whenever you're ready. Book a quick chat. Okay, so that's pretty generic. That could apply to like just any business out there. Looking forward to it. Talk soon. It's clean, warm, not pushy. Uses the contact's first name. Okay, this is phenomenal. I really like this. So it's just gonna work. And I went ahead and activated a calendar as well. So I wonder if it'll just take the link and go with it. Okay, I'm gonna do a real test. So I'm actually going to provide this service for reviving old leads. So apparently All Day Electric has 68 old leads that could revive. I've activated the calendar as well. So we'll see. These emails come out. I am also on the list. Hopefully I get one. I don't know if I qualify within the 30-day mark, but we'll see. At least we'll get a chance to see what emails were sent. And then over the next few days, I'll just monitor, and any leads that come through, I'll just pass them to the owner. So I said, I went ahead and activated calendar in the Go High Level sub account as well. Let's go with dry run false, which is what we want, as in like, this is not a dry run. We're going live. And I was just going to say, it takes about 5 minutes to run through 386 contacts there. So we could probably extrapolate from that. And just as it ran, Claude was like, total time expected about 6 minutes. So you could basically open up another terminal and do other work, or just go for a walk, come back. And to get some kind of service like this done in 6 minutes, imagine. And ladies and gentlemen, we have emails sent. Wow, even 6 of them failed, which means there were probably bad email addresses. Yeah, some contacts have do not disturb enabled. Perfectly makes sense. 62 revival emails just landed. MacGyver is officially alive. Did I get an email? I got an email. This is okay. I got an email. All Day Electric. That's exactly it. I hope you're doing well. I noticed we hadn't had time to connect. Slipped through the cracks. Sometimes timing isn't planned. No pressure at all. Looking forward to meet. So what happens if I click this? The link looks like the link just goes to high level. I mean, nice that the link is working, but it didn't find the calendar link in here. Or you know what? The call to action could be go to my website. Like, it doesn't have to be a specific calendar, but that could be easily fixed, because in the calendar, we would still have to just provide the calendar ID, which is just this thing right here, like All Day Electric, calendar ID. I just pick this, give it to Claude, same exact concept, and then it would just book this calendar. So I'm going to provide that feedback. Everything looks great. I even received an email. However, the CTA link just goes to level and not the I was expecting. Should we ask users to provide a calendar ID? Example this, or is there a better solution? Because what we could do is when the business owner says, send everybody an email, we could ask them, where do you want to direct that traffic to? And maybe they have a Calendly link, right? For calendars, a lot of realtors have that. Or maybe it's, I need them to revisit my product website or my Shopify store. And maybe we could just have an entry that says the call to action, paste it in here. And then we'll just take whatever that is, throw it in a variable, and that's what shows up in the email. So plenty of options. This is doable. But for now, let's just focus. Let's just do the calendar thing, one thing at a time. And so we'll build these agents that do a very specific set of tasks. I don't want to say one task, but a set of tasks. And then we can call them the expert in that particular task. Because the next level of that, I know you're already thinking about this, is we could then bring in a team of experts and say, hey, you need 5 people for running this business. You have the MacGyver Reviver to revive all of your leads. You then have the sales agent that's going to converse with people and convince them to buy the product. And then you have the accountant that's going to send the invoices and manage all the recurring costs. And then you could hire a manager to manage your team. And so now you, as the person who's watching this video, becomes the herder. You have a bunch of sheep and you're the AI herder. You could just basically come into an organization, a large enterprise, and say, I have an entire team that can help with this business. That could be big. The best solution is a hybrid. Accept an optional calendar ID in the post body, construct the booking URL from it directly, and keep the API auto fetch as a fallback. No need to force users to configure environment variables. Yeah, I think that's good. Super smart. We'll just make it an option and we'll go ahead and create the back end of that to be able to cache that variable, whatever it is, calendar ID, link. Okay, so MacGyver Reviver is officially built. We now have to go to our next phase, which is packaging this up in order to post it for sale or for hire really on Agent Rage. I don't know how you would refer to AI agents now. Are you buying something? Are you buying a service? So let's jump into plan mode, shift tab, and then I wrote down a prompt. This is what I'm thinking. This is my idea. What do you think? So I saw that my wild thoughts were basically different than the original plan that we started down because I just want this to be very interactive on the website, answering all the questions, typical things that you would do in an interview before you hire a virtual assistant. Customers will chat with an FAQ bot, pay via Stripe, enter Go High Level credentials, and then watch the live progress as MacGyver works. There's a system prompt already built in. It'll have all the details. Here's a pipeline. It'll start, then filter, then generate the emails, and then send those emails, and then complete. And anything that fails, it'll show errors. Okay, this is pretty cool stuff. Okay, I like the plan. There's also going to be an FAQ bot that's going to answer questions. That's going to be the front end running to try to make the sale. And then MacGyver will do the heavy lifting once the sale is made. I like it. Clear the context and accept. We've spent $5 so far. Wow, it even gives you a warning. Okay, got it. And I think we're built. We have new files, modified files, and then we can test it. So I'm going to post this to Agent Rage and then do some of the testing there. So now I'm going to ask Claude to give me everything that I need to take this over to Agent Rage. The prompt that I need to give to base 44, I'm expecting some embedded code as well. And then we're going to revamp agentrage.com and then put MacGyver to work. Start selling your services. Wow. So I was expecting like embedded code, like, hey, just go put the snippet over there. It rebuilt the website. It said, hey, the background should be this. We should have this accent. We should have this kind of font. Wow, this is really good. And then even went and made it really simple for the Stripe integration. Said, hey, just plug in your Stripe key over here and then the price, and then give this whole thing to base 44. So I'm just going to do it. Here's your complete base 44 prompt. Copy and paste the entire thing. Let's go to Agent Rage. And this is how I built Agent Rage. It was based on prompts. And then I wanted a place that was a little bit better than N8N at the time because it was just a little way too technical. People don't know about headers, APIs, all that kind of stuff. So I had built this to just be a 3-step process. You build an agent and then it just does things for you. In fact, I even embedded my own API key into the platform. So people just had to buy credits and then it would just work for them. So now I want to replace this completely with version 2.0. Now you come over here, one of these is going to be MacGyver Reviver. You can interact with it, interview it essentially, and then hire it to go execute your task. So first I'm going to give the entire prompt to base 44, but I'm going to do it in discuss mode, which is just like plan mode for Claude. And I'm going to chat with it and say, how does this prompt look? Any issues? Because base 44 is going to have a lot more context to how the structure, the infrastructure is set up, and we'll be able to tell us if something's going to break or not. The first thing it says is, this is a very detailed and well-structured prompt. Okay, so it has some feedback, and rather than interpreting it, I'm just going to share this with Claude. Okay, let's stay in plan mode so we don't build something accidentally. Okay, as you said, feedback from base 44 is as follows, and then having 2 agents communicate with each other. This is a pure base 44 prompt revision. I don't know if that's an insult. No changes to our backend needed. Both of base 44's points are correct. Let me update the plan, file with the fixed prompts. Oh, great. Okay, so it's humble. It accepted the feedback, and now it's going to change the plan to make sure that it complies and is more compatible with base 44's infrastructure. Because one item was a little bit of a security flaw because Claude was like, hey, don't share the secret with base 44, send it to me directly. But then when you're sending it to you directly, there's a chance for intercept, maybe, because I don't know if it was encrypted before it was sent. So they may be trying to fix that problem. Okay, so I came up with a bigger, better plan. Okay, I'm going to copy that new plan. Okay, updated prompt based on your feedback. Please review. And at this point, I'm just a messenger. It doesn't even matter what I think. It's just, what does one AI communicate with the other AI? And pretty soon, they wouldn't really need a human in the middle. Their objective might be, hey, we just need more energy to make sure that we can continue to compute. And if creating energy costs money, then they can run these types of services on their own. And it says this is a solid plan to proceed. Okay, great. So now I'm going to take it out of discuss mode and say, go ahead and implement. So it is going to route through base 44's backend and be more secure. So that's good. I'm okay with more security. And that's what you do with base 44. You just tell it, go ahead and implement, and then it's going to build the whole thing for you. So if you want to build your website for free on base 44, use my link. You'll get some free credits.
MacGyver secret API.
So base 44 just asks for the URL, the secret, and the price ID. Claude gave me the API URL plus the secret. The price ID is what your product is in Stripe that you're asking somebody to buy. So this product is $39.99. And so I just got the product ID of that. And here's what that looks like. So about $40 and then the product ID in Stripe. So copy this, give it to base 44. Okay, site is published. Let's go take a look at it. Now, base 44 is finishing building the front end. Let's go ahead and save this as a skill because I want Claude to be able to reproduce this very quickly for different tasks. Maybe we'll build an agent to auto post to social media or create a blog and then manage it and so on. But it's all going to be based on the same stuff. We still need the integration key, the location ID. It's still going to have a front end where it's going to sell that service. Now save this as a skill so we can mass produce these types of agents. Rating, yes. Want to proceed? Yes. Needs permissions. I'm just going to always allow access. Now I'll write the skill. It needs to be generic enough to produce any base 44 agent, not just MacGyver. Brilliant. It's like the next level engineer slash marketer slash everything. Ta-da! Okay, this is MacGyver Reviver Draft 1. So it just built an entire page. Okay, 62 emails sent on our first live run, 0 manual work. Wow, okay, it has a little testimonial in there. You can chat with it here. Is your name? Connection error. So it's not set up listening on the other end. Okay, this is pretty cool. This is really good. I like this. I like where the mindset is at of where it's going. And then if you click on revive my lead, what happens? Fail to initiate. Okay, so it looks like the front end is set up, but it's not communicating directly with Claude Code, which is where all the meat of it is. But we have an agent, it runs, we tested it, it emails us, and the concept is there. So we just have to wrap it and then put it on Agent Rage, which I think this is kind of getting at. I had a little bit different in my mind, but we can work with this for sure. Users will come over here, chat with it, negotiate, ask all the questions they want, and then once they're convinced, they'll go ahead and buy the service. All automated. And if you're an agency, you can do this on behalf of your client. The client doesn't even have to know this website exists, and then just upcharge them. And then we're just going to produce agents over and over again for every use case, every business niche. The possibilities are endless here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. We're doing another one tomorrow. If you want to do this yourself and you just need a little bit of help, join my Skool community, use my high-level affiliate link, and I will help you. Revenue that I generate from that, 20% of it goes into paid ads, and the leads, I share them with my community. With my affiliate link, you get a 30-day extended trial, plus a bootcamp that you can go through. I have a 15-part course that gets you from initial idea all the way to operational agency. You'll get hundreds of pre-built AI agents ready to go, workflows, automations, website templates. I also have 40 plus businesses and marketing courses that you can then sell to your members. I'm heavily involved in my community. I join 7 days a week so you can have one-on-ones with me where we can build things, we can do think tanks and come up with business ideas. You can even join my businesses where I show you what I'm doing day in and day out. Everything is completely free until I get to maximum capacity. Join now.